If that wasn't enough of a preview for your show tomorrow, I understand you're going to do a little something for us tonight, right?
Yes, we're going to...
Yeah.
When mentioning the beauties who appeared on The Tonight Show Armchair, people often immediately think of luxurious outfits or flawless faces. Indeed, their radiant beauty captivated millions of viewers. However, what truly held the gaze and created timeless appeal came from a much more powerful weapon aura and natural charisma. It was the confident demeanor commanding the camera, the sharp composure in every reply, or the radiant smile capable of lighting up the whole space. Without the need for ostentation, it was their highly personal grace that helped them easily capture the full attention of both Johnny Carson and the audience. Let's look back at the 10 female guests who used their own charm, bravery, and unique beauty to create the most captivating moments in Tonight Show history. And Margaret, an explosive energy breaking beyond the interview desk. And Margaret was not just a silver screen actress, she was a true entertainment icon with incredibly fiery singing and dancing abilities. When mentioning the female guests who left the strongest impressions both visually and in performance style on The Tonight Show, and Margaret is definitely the first name that must be mentioned. On January 22, 1975, Anne Margaret stepped onto The Tonight Show stage and immediately caught the eyes of the audience. She wore a light blue outfit with a body-hugging top, combined with flared pants perfectly fitting the trendy 70s style and a large, chunky metal necklace. Her bouncy reddish-orange hair was blown out vibrantly. Notably, her daring fashion choice of going braless under the thin shirt made her appearance extremely hot, making it hard for anyone to look away. From the moment she sat down, Anne Margaret carried the aura of a live performer with a burning energy that made Johnny Carson's interview desk feel too small. At the desk, she smiled brightly, crossed her legs comfortably, and told Johnny about the process of filming expensive swimming scenes for her work. She cheerfully recounted the incident where the crew broke the entire heating system the night before, forcing her to grit her teeth and shoot underwater in freezing 50-degree Fahrenheit temperatures on a Sunday instead of the expected warm 100 degrees. When Johnny mentioned old movies, she excitedly admitted that, as a child, whenever no one was looking, she often pretended to be the famous swimming actress Esther Williams, faced with her naturalness and grace. Johnny Carson primarily played the role of a listener. He looked at her with amused eyes, constantly smiling and yielding the entire space for her to shine. But the true appeal of that night burst forth when Anne Margaret left the interview chair and stepped into the middle of the stage. Unlike actors who only came to chat, she stood in front of the mic stand, gripped the microphone tightly, and began to perform. Every fiery bounce, every decisive hip shake under the colored stage lights completely ignited the atmosphere, her bouncy hair flying to every rhythm along with her glamorous, continuously moving body brought the audience an experience far beyond a regular interview. She turned her appearance into a real concert right inside The Tonight Show. That night, Anne Margaret truly proved the caliber of a complete entertainment superstar. Christy Brinkley, the healthy beauty of the supermodel era. If Anne Margaret was an explosive fire, Christy Brinkley embodied a fresh California sea breeze, brightening the entire Tonight Show studio on the night of March 4, 1981. Unlike the usual aloofness of supermodels, Christy stepped out with a modern, vibrant energy, making Johnny Carson's classic space suddenly unusually youthful. In a silk outfit, deeply breathing the 80s vibe with turquoise and shiny gold colors, Christy attracted not only with her looks, but also with her approachability right from her first greetings. The conversation started interestingly when she confessed she had just gone through a half-crying, half-laughing adventure to get there. Amidst the pouring rain of Los Angeles, the supermodel got lost in the maze of Ventura freeways and dead-end streets in Venice. The way she talked about managing through the wind and rain with an unforced smile immediately drew the audience closer, making them feel the woman on screen wasn't just a beauty icon, but also an incredibly lovable girl. The most memorable highlight of that night was the moment Johnny Carson flipped through the pages of Christy's beauty history. Instead of social compliments, Johnny chose to honor her charm by holding up her illustrious Sports Illustrated magazine covers. The whole studio seemingly held its breath as each of her radiant frames in the Seychelles Islands appeared under the lights. Johnny, with his witty and elegant hosting style, cleverly joked about how she had been completely monopolizing readers' hearts for many consecutive years. Throughout the dialogue, the contrast between Johnny's calm, somewhat old demeanor and Christy's lively, radiant nature created a perfect resonance. She listened attentively, answered with sincerity, and always maintained a confident but never haughty posture. That night, Christy Brinkley proved that true glamour doesn't just lie on million-copy magazine covers, but also in how a woman commands the space with her own warmth and an unlook-awayable smile. Dianne Cannon, the crisp laughter and the magnetic pull of a fulfilled woman. On the night of October 25th, 1985, The Tonight Show studio was warmed by one of the most refreshing and charming laughs ever to appear on television. Dianne Cannon stepped out, bringing an energy so radiant that the entire audience couldn't take their eyes off her. She wore a bright red silk shirt dress, casually rolling up the sleeves to reveal layered, edgy, chunky metal bracelets. Her signature 80s bouncy curly hair framed a glowing face, highlighting the mature beauty of a woman in her most brilliant phase. Dianne's appeal lay not only in her beauty, but also in her charm, wit, and especially her confidence in repartee. That night, she delivered one of the funniest and most explosive moments of the show by bluntly teasing Johnny Carson. The moment she sat down, the atmosphere immediately heated up with a spark of intimate teasing ignited from the deep history of their acquaintance. Dianne let out a crisp laugh and exposed the legendary host right on the air. She dug deep into the change in Johnny's attitude after she had just gotten married. Dianne hilariously questioned why, before she was married, Johnny always kept his distance and greeted her very coldly and properly. Yet, when she went to the dressing room to visit like old friends tonight, he suddenly rushed in, hugging and kissing her passionately just because she was now a taken woman. Her adorable scolding revolving around her new marital status had the whole studio rolling with laughter. Dianne's carefree, liberal laugh made her double over with pure joy. Sitting opposite her, Johnny Carson, in his elegant light-colored suit, appeared quite flustered but couldn't hide his amusement. He clumsily tried to defend himself, joking that perhaps subconsciously he knew she was now an untouchable woman before awkwardly realizing he used the wrong word, making Dianne's laughter even more echoing. Johnny was usually someone who controlled the show's pacing very well, but faced with Dianne's charming attack and endless laughter about her marriage, he was completely disarmed. The glamour of Dianne Cannon shone brilliantly through that very confidence and echoing laugh. She proved that the most captivating beauty sometimes doesn't come from coyness, but from intelligence, an elegant demeanor, and the ability to master the conversation. The way she comfortably brought the story of her new life chapter as joking material created an incredibly authentic and memorable moment, etching the image of the most radiant female guest on The Tonight Show armchair. Cheryl Ladd's sweet beauty and a calm demeanor mastering the frame. If there was a guest who proved that glamour didn't necessarily have to be loud or ostentatious, it was Cheryl Ladd. When she appeared on The Tonight Show, the audience instantly felt the glowing halo of a television star who was already so familiar to millions through the hit series Charlie's Angels. This wonderful interview actually took place on March 1st, 1978. That night, Cheryl stepped out and brought along an incredibly soothing atmosphere. She wore a gentle pastel pink dress with a soft draped collar, gracefully tied with a bow right at the chest. Her signature shiny blonde hair was blown out bouncy, falling naturally over her shoulders, brightening the whole frame, without needing tight outfits or daring cutouts. It was Cheryl's sweet, carefree and relaxed look that made people unable to blink. Sitting opposite her, Johnny Carson also seemed drawn into that unhurried rhythm, in an elegant gray suit and a blue striped tie. He occasionally leaned forward, resting his chin on his hand thoughtfully and listening intently to her speak. The conversation became extremely intimate and funny when Johnny brought up an old memory. He confessed to the audience that he almost lost a fair bet because he stubbornly insisted Cheryl had never been on the show before. It turned out she had sat in this very chair in 1973, but under her maiden name, Cheryl Stoppelmoor. The whole studio erupted in laughter as the two recalled how Johnny struggled back then to pronounce that long Stoppelmoor name. He turned it into a hilarious tongue twister, just stuttering stoppa lad on television. When reminiscing about this half-crying, half-laughing memory, Cheryl smiled radiantly, gently bringing her hand up to stroke her hair and hide an incredibly adorable bit of shyness. The biggest draw of this segment was exactly how Cheryl Ladd shone, without needing to stage her charm or resort to stage tricks. She delivered a gentle, authentic interview like a heart-to-heart between old friends. It was her calm presence, gentle smile, and leisurely demeanor that filled the space, making the audience drift along with the story and just want to look at her endlessly. Teri Garr, a different kind of charm from one of the funniest moments. Mentioning Teri Garr is mentioning an actress who knew how to shine with an incredibly natural charm. In the emotional thread of gorgeous guests bringing the funniest moments in Tonight Show history, Teri Garr's appearance on May 14, 1992 is definitely a mark that cannot be ignored. These were the final days before Johnny Carson officially retired, and she brought an atmosphere ringing with laughter, but no less captivating. That night, Teri appeared elegantly in a minimalist black dress with a deep V-neck line, accentuating her bare shoulders and slender figure. Her shiny blonde hair fell naturally, heavily bearing the style of the early 90s. However, contrary to the standard glamorous look of a movie star, the appeal that made the audience unable to take their eyes off her radiated from an incredibly adorable, clumsy situation. The moment she sat down, Johnny Carson in a gray suit immediately smiled, teased her, and called her a real trooper for making the effort to attend the show tonight. He wittily told the audience that when walking into the makeup room, he saw her sitting there with a giant thing wrapped around her knee, exposed. Teri burst out laughing and confessed that she had deliberately taken off the knee brace because she thought she could hide it from the audience. But since Johnny had accidentally mentioned it, she happily admitted the truth on live television. Johnny didn't let it go, continuing to press and pointing out that she was limping anyway and her ankle was still bandaged, so he demanded she clear up the whole story with the most deadpan and cool attitude possible. Teri replied that she fell down a flight of stairs and there was no thrilling or cool story behind it. She said she simply slipped and fell, but was determined to drag herself to the studio because she heard rumors Johnny was leaving the show, so she wanted to come say goodbye. The studio audience laughed with delight at the movie star's authenticity and dedication, sitting next to her. Johnny Carson looked at her with eyes that were both amused and appreciative, fully enjoying the sincerity of a longtime colleague. Teri Garr truly understood how to be funny without losing a movie star's magnetism. She brought a different kind of glamour, much less showy and more authentic than the carefully orchestrated appearances of classic stars. It was her naturalness, daring to laugh at her own ironic situation. That helped her shine brilliantly and etch her name into the list of Johnny Carson's most unforgettable beauties. Brooke Shields, star aura and composure beyond her years. On May 17, 1983, The Tonight Show studio welcomed the appearance of one of the most famous young faces in Hollywood at the time, Brooke Shields. Despite being very young, she brought a confident aura and an amazing composure in front of the lens, fully mastering the heat of the stage lights directing towards her. That night, Brooke appeared incredibly radiant in a striking emerald green silk outfit, with a stylish shoulder-padded top paired with matching pants that deeply breathed 80s fashion. Her bouncy hair, curled in large waves, embraced her delicate face, combined with an elegant necklace. Brooke's beauty lay not only in her flawless features, but also exuded from her unhurried demeanor, the way she smiled amicably and listened intently to every question from Johnny Carson. The subtle control in her replies helped her image become polished and luxurious, but without creating any feeling of distance or coldness. Sitting opposite, in an elegant beige corduroy jacket, Johnny appeared particularly attentive and captivated by the unusual experiences of the young girl, instead of talking about the blazing halo of the entertainment industry. Brooke passionately talked about her passion and work caring for wild animals, with a gentle voice. She named a series of animal friends she had interacted with, such as koalas or primates like lemurs, langurs, and chimpanzees. The most adorable highlight of the conversation was when Brooke recounted a small incident at the care center, when a stubborn pygmy marmoset skipped lunch and by dinner time was so starving that it burst into tears. The atmosphere became incredibly soothing as she softly described the moment she saw tiny tears falling from the corners of the monkey's eyes. Right then, Johnny Carson, with his unmistakable comedic instinct, cleverly inserted a charming joke to create laughter. He nodded along, continuing her story by saying he had also accidentally stepped on a real fur rabbit's foot, and he firmly believed that rabbit's foot also screamed in tears. Johnny's deadpan joke made Brooke burst into a radiant laugh, melting away all seriousness and turning the conversation incredibly lively. With her intelligence and radiant smile, Brooke Shields proved that the magnetism of a beauty icon doesn't necessarily have to come from ostentation. She made the audience unable to look away just with her pure beauty, poised demeanor, and a captivating story. Goldie Hawn effortless charm. If there was anyone who brought to The Tonight Show a radiant, almost weightless energy that brightened the whole studio the moment she sat down, it was definitely Goldie Hawn. On March 25, 1975, America's iconic blonde appeared and proved that the most captivating beauty sometimes comes from absolute carefree nature and a fully implicit sense of humor. That night, Goldie exuded an elegant yet edgy look. She wore a pitch-black outfit with a sophisticated off-the-shoulder design, highlighting her fair skin and slender shoulders. Her shiny blonde hair was naturally straightened, framing a radiant smile that was always on her lips. When she sat comfortably in the mustard-yellow armchair, the color contrast made her stand out even more, sitting opposite. Johnny Carson, in an elegant light-colored plaid suit, couldn't hide his impression of her appearance. He smiled, looking at her, and offered a compliment that she looked really flowy and sexy tonight, in response. Goldie didn't seem shy at all, but honestly shared in her clear voice. She said that all day today she had to agonize over whether to wear this outfit or choose something with a bit less fabric. The whole studio laughed, and Johnny immediately seized the chance to joke, saying it was hard for her to wear any less, but he meant a less provocative outfit. This rhythmic banter instantly broke all distance, bringing an incredibly intimate atmosphere. But the most interesting part that kept the audience glued was when the two reminisced about ironic old memories. Johnny brought up how Goldie used to be a go-go dancer and was certain she had worked at the famous Peppermint Lounge in New York. Goldie's eyes went wide. She laughed while constantly waving her hands to correct him. Not the Peppermint Lounge, it was the Peppermint Box. She further explained that she actually did perform at the Peppermint Lounge a few nights, but her main job was at the Peppermint Box. And at that time, she even had her own go-go dancing manager. Johnny burst out laughing at her naturalness, wittily asking if she really wanted to bring that up on television. Throughout the interview, Goldie Hawn constantly waved her hands to express the story, laughed comfortably, and reacted incredibly quickly. Johnny seemingly didn't have to try to make the audience laugh, because Goldie's charm, vivid expressions. And authenticity did half of his job. She turned a late-night talk into a brilliant moment, making anyone watching involuntarily smile along. Dolly Parton, a hilarious moment that rocked the studio. If one had to pick a guest capable of bringing her own little stage to The Tonight Show and creating one of the funniest moments that made the audience unable to look away, it would be Dolly Parton. On September 19, 1979, the country music legend appeared and instantly created an immediate energy shift, completely changing the atmosphere at the interview desk, a place where Johnny Carson always held absolute control. That night, Dolly was incredibly gorgeous in a flowing white dress, dotted with soft red and green floral patterns cascading down her arms. Her iconic giant teased platinum blonde hair, paired with sparkling large hoop earrings, further accentuated her sun-kissed smile and sparkling eyes. Throughout the conversation, she also hugged a rustic wooden acoustic guitar, bringing a beauty that was both gorgeously glamorous and incredibly approachable. Dolly's appeal didn't stop at her striking appearance, but also radiated from the grace and sweetness in how she bantered with the host. Upon sitting down, she didn't hesitate to express her affection for Johnny and humbly affirmed that her having loyal fans was all thanks to appearing on The Tonight Show. The atmosphere exploded with laughter when she passionately recounted an ironic situation in the dressing room. Dolly confessed she had been excited for a whole month because she firmly believed the two were close friends. But when Johnny knocked on her door to say hello, she was stuck in an awkward situation and had no idea he was busy. Following the singer, Johnny wittily reenacted his bewildered feeling when he knocked and heard a voice echoing from somewhere, bluntly refusing, "I can't talk right now." The whole studio got a chance to roll with laughter at the adorable awkwardness of both of them. Sitting opposite in an elegant light-colored suit, Johnny Carson also seemed swept away by her warmth. The comedic rhythm was pushed to a climax when Johnny took out an envelope and joked with the audience that he would read and answer it right on television to save a little money. It was a letter from Vice Mayor Carl Hatcher, Mayor Gary Wade, and officials in Sevierville, Tennessee, Dolly's hometown, officially inviting Johnny to join the fun at the inauguration of the Dolly Parton Parkway. The perfect combination of a glamorous look, the rustic sound of the guitar, and endless hearty laughs turned the interview into an incredibly memorable experience. Dolly Parton proved that the magnetism that makes people unable to look away truly lies in a warm heart and a wit that spreads wherever she steps. Suzanne Somers, a hilarious confession and the sparkling beauty of Hollywood. On February 21, 1974, Suzanne Somers brought an incredibly fresh breeze to The Tonight Show studio, perfectly combining radiant beauty with one of the funniest, most authentic interview moments in the show's history. If the audience was expecting a coy movie star with cookie-cutter answers, Suzanne completely shattered that expectation with her charming bluntness. That night, Suzanne appeared as a true beauty icon of the 70s. She wore a light jade green outfit with a thin, ribbed-off-the-shoulder sweater hugging her body, paired with high-waisted pants and a large metal belt. Her shiny blonde hair was blown out and curled at the ends, highlighting her radiant smile and sparkling eyes. Sitting comfortably relaxed in the mustard-yellow armchair, her gorgeousness made the whole frame seem to light up. Johnny Carson. In an elegant light brown suit with a classic patterned tie, opened the conversation by mentioning that she had to breathe oxygen at the same time while participating in Dom DeLuise's show. Suzanne burst into a radiant laugh and replied with warmth, asserting it was the most wonderful working experience she had ever had and praising Dom as an incredibly lovely man. However, the most interesting and funny highlight that kept the audience glued lay in the latter part of the conversation. Johnny gently opened her poetry book, offering compliments that she wrote very nice things, when he curiously asked if writing poetry was a recent hobby or a passion she had always harbored. Suzanne didn't hesitate to shatter all romantic illusions. With a radiant smile on her lips, she coolly confessed, "Well, I do it for the money. You know, you." "Sha," the starlet added with a very deadpan emphasis. "There's no great love. I just want to make money." This ruthlessly straightforward answer had the whole studio rolling with laughter. Johnny Carson clearly showed his amusement. He leaned forward, smiled radiantly, and praised that this kindness and bluntness was a nice change of pace. He laughed out loud and nodded, admitting how refreshing it would be if people also answered so honestly when asked why they took a movie role. Suzanne Somers brought Johnny one of Hollywood's classic origin stories. So smooth it was hard to believe it was true. Her recounting the story of being discovered right after setting foot in Hollywood brought an inherent sparkle to this segment, making her overnight success sound both thrilling and serendipitous. It was exactly this combination of gorgeous looks and a cool, funny head that made Suzanne's appearance incredibly different and memorable. Jane Fonda, powerful magnetism and the funniest turning of the tables. Jane Fonda is not just a cinema legend or a radiant fitness icon, but she is also living proof that glamour sometimes comes from sharp intelligence and the bravery to master the game. When mentioning the funniest moments ever to happen on The Tonight Show Armchair, Jane's appearance on September 15, 1989, is definitely a unique mark. Stepping onto the stage that night, she didn't just bring gorgeous beauty, but also radiated an aura that overpowered all eyes. Jane Fonda's image that day was the perfect embodiment of luxury and power. She wore a white shirt with a sophisticated deep V-neck, combined with a padded shoulder design heavily bearing the mark of late 80s fashion. The shirt was neatly tucked into high-waisted black pants, accented by a wide leather belt with a shiny metal buckle. Her bouncy blonde hair was brushed into its signature volume, and oversized teardrop earrings further highlighted her sharp features and overwhelmingly confident demeanor. Jane's magnetism that made people unable to look away didn't lie in her smiling shyly, instead of just sitting there like a usual gorgeous silver screen star. Jane Fonda brought the appeal of a star with sharp curiosity. Sitting opposite Johnny Carson, who was wearing an elegant light gray suit with a red tie, Jane leaned forward, raised her hand, and completely turned the tables. She boldly turned herself into the interviewer, asking Johnny directly about one of the most famous rumors in late-night television, thereby completely reversing the initiative, in a calm but provocative voice. Jane recounted a conversation with her son the night before about actress Zsa Zsa Gabor. She relayed her son's story that Zsa Zsa once appeared on the show, placed a cat on her lap, and asked Johnny a suggestive question, "Would you like to pet my cat?" The whole studio seemingly held its breath and then burst into laughter when Jane boldly questioned Johnny about his rumored answer, "I'd love to if you'd remove that damn cat." Backed into a corner right on his home turf by such an incredibly unexpected question. Johnny Carson couldn't hide his fluster, mixed with an amused smile. Jane Fonda's segment became classic because she proved that a woman's most captivating beauty sometimes lies right in her bravery and sharpness, daring to joke and put the king of late-night television into one of the most ironic situations of his career. Johnny Carson's Armchair was not just a place for late-night conversations, but also a stage honoring the aura and unique glamour of Hollywood icons. The 10 beauties mentioned above not only brought radiant looks, but also left a deep mark with their intelligence, confident demeanor, and undeniable magnetism. They proved that the most captivating beauty goes far beyond conventional physical standards. It lies in how a woman masters the space and makes millions of viewers look on in admiration. Among these 10 beauty icons, whose demeanor impressed you and made you unable to look away the most, share your thoughts right down in the comments section. And don't forget to hit follow to join us in continuing to decode the appeal of screen legends in upcoming articles.